Hello everyone, and welcome to Windows 7. This here is a tutorial on the basic overviews and navigations of Windows 7. Now firstly, you'll notice that I have a few extras. These I will not go into on how to get, not on this tutorial. Now firstly, you have the Start menu. Here you're able to access all of your programs that you have installed on your machine. Over here are your recently used programs. These are everything that you've recently clicked on or mostly clicked on throughout, your time on the computer. Up here is your series of favorites. You can set these custom. I'll show you how to do that later. On the side panel here, you'll see that you have Help and Support, Default Programs, Devices and Printers, Control Panel, Computer, Games, Music, Pictures, Documents, and of course, your User folder. Now this will be named something different for you depending on what your main account is named, or the account that you are signed on to. Let's start here. The user account is filled with things like contacts, your desktop, your downloads, favorites, links, documents, and everything else like that. Now, the one thing that you don't see is app data. And the reason why you do not see that is because on this machine we have it enabled so you are able to see hidden files and folders. This is an advanced feature and is not recommended for new users. Now let's venture into the documents. What are my documents? My documents are things that you hold storage for, say a document like a text file, or perhaps you have some important PDF files. That's basically what the documents folder is for. Now of course you're not limited to anything like that, and you're able to put whatever wherever you want. You have the videos, music, pictures as well, and for the same purposes as you can guess. Now you can see here you have drop down menus for each of these, each one a little different. You'll notice though that each of these has a public folder: public videos, public music, public pictures, and public documents. These are documents that you're sharing publicly with those on your network and home group, and I'll show you how to set that up in a different video. But for now I'm only showing you the navigation and understanding. This here is your home group, and this is once more what you're using with your network. This is so you can access your friends' files or those on your network, say they're your family, your coworkers, your friends. That is technically what that is for. Now the same can be said for the network. However, it is a little more in depth than simply the home group. For example, you see the computer's name, and you're able to go in there and you're able to start with their root folders. And depending on what it is that they're sharing with you, that is what you'll see. Back into the Start menu, your computer. When you click on it, you'll see your hard drive. If you have another hard drive, like this computer does, you'll see two. And your device managers, such as your DVD drive, your USB drives if you have any plugged in, and removable media. Now, a lot of you are still wondering, how do you see your computer specifications? How do you see what is going on the inside of a machine? Let's say that you need a software and you need to understand, how do I know if my computer can handle this software? Now there are two very good ways to do this. The first way and most commonly known way is coming into the Start menu, right-clicking on the computer, and choosing Properties. Here you're able to see your manufacturer, your National Windows rating, your processor, your RAM, your system type, and whether or not you have a pen or touchpad capability. You have the phone number to the support of your manufacturer, the website for your own support, and other information like that. Now let's venture into the Windows Experience Index. This determines how high your score is throughout all the other machines to tell you what exactly, where your machine sits, where it is, how good it is, in comparison to the top machines. Now you're able to run these, and eventually you'll get a number, a power score is what they call it. I won't go into detail on that for now. The processor, of course, is what handles your processing, how many applications can take on your computer's load. as well as the RAM. The RAM ties in very, very closely with the processor, as it too allows programs to run simultaneously and how many you can do at a time. Now this machine has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and that's not a very standard number for a lot of machines. In fact, this machine is a little bit unique in its processing and RAM capabilities. Here you see the 3.30 gigahertz. That's how many gigahertz your processor is running at. And let's say you want to run a program or a video game. It'll say you need a processor with at least X amount of gigahertz. Let's say, for example, 2.3 gigahertz. Well, that doesn't mean that you're required to have 2.3 gigahertz. That simply means you need to have at least 2.3 gigahertz or more of processing power. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I know if I have a dual core, a quad core, or what have you? That is where the second part in understanding how to understand your machine, that's where this comes in. And you're able to go to your start menu, and you can type in run and hit enter, or you can use my favorite shortcut, Windows key R, and you may then type in DX diag. And opening up this dialog, you're able to see a little more detail on what your machine is. For example, right here on the processor, where before you only saw 3.30 gigahertz, now you can see how many cores your computer's processor has. This one has 4, which makes it a quad-core processor. And some games or softwares will ask that you have at least a dual core or a quad-core processor in order to run their software or program. And here you see how much page file you have. Before, you did not see that. You see your operating system just as before. Here the system manufacturer isn't listed, nor is the system model name, as this is a fresh install and was not installed by the manufacturer. Over here in the display tab, you'll see your graphics card and who makes it and how much memory your graphics card has. Sometimes you'll have 2 graphics cards, and it will either sync up or list them both. Your sound cards are here, and this one has the capability of having multiple sound inputs, as a lot of machines do. And finally, your input. This is what determines your devices that are attached to your machine. Here's the mouse, keyboard, the webcam, USB keyboards, and what have you. Back over in the system, you'll also see something called DirectX. And you may need to pay attention for certain games or softwares, because certain games and softwares will ask that you have a specific version of DirectX. And just because you have a higher version of DirectX does not always mean that you have the right DirectX. And I'm not 100% on this, however, it has worked for me that you can install previous DirectX versions. And this may or may not work for you because all softwares are different. All things run differently. But if you install a previous DirectX version, you will be able to, more than likely, will be able to run that software program that you're trying to do. Back into the Start menu, here you have the control panel. This is a very key part into the Windows machine. Over here you see System and Security, Network and Internet, Hardware and Sound, Programs, User Accounts and Family Safety, Appearance and Personalization, Clock Language and Region, and Ease of Access. Now, the Ease of Access has a lot of people confused. This here is basically if you have visual problems or hearing problems, you're then able to modify your machine to act in a specific way. Now, this is very beneficial for those with disabilities. If you are not one with disabilities, you do not need to worry about this feature. Over here, the programs, uninstalling a program, I find myself in this region a lot because I test a lot of softwares, and when a software isn't doing what I need it to, or let's say a software breaks and maybe I need to reinstall it, I'll go over here into the programs in the control panel and I'll uninstall a program and then go back and either reinstall it or leave it be. Here in the Hardware and Sound, this is where all of your devices lie, and this is a very key part into the drivers area. Because when you look at your devices and printers, you need to have what's called a driver in order to run these things. And you can check for driver updates, and you can add a device or add a printer, even from off of your network. I'll go into that in a different time. Over in the System Security, you have your Action Center, your Windows Firewall, which comes standard, System, your Windows Update, Power Options, Backup and Restore, Windows Anytime Upgrade, and Administrative Tools. Now, the two ones that I would like to bring most to your attention for now would be your Power Options, your Windows Update. Your Power Options will allow you to determine when you have your computer turn off, how much time it takes for it to turn off, or whether it turns off at all. And a lot of people are wondering, oh, if I leave my computer for about 30 minutes, I have a hard time, and I have to restart, I have to put my password back in, and all that. So that right there is probably very useful for you to know. And the Windows updates, you always want to be running Windows updates. And also check often, and you can do that by clicking this button. Well, that is enough time for this video, and I will go into more into Windows 7 at a later point in time. Thank you for staying with us, and enjoy your time at TheTechWay.com.